Good evening. You're listening to Adrenaline Radio. This is 1680 on your AM dial. I'm Fred Blanchard, your host for Adrenaline Motorsports. And this evening, I'm going to share with you folks a little bit about a personal project that myself and my partners have, and it relates to land speed racing. Then got some runs in the July meet also, which was a week the meet before Bonneville, and we had some successes on the July meet to where we actually acquired in total 3 levels of licensing, which would allow us now to go to Bonneville and run on the short course to get our license for 200 miles an hour, and actually 250 miles an hour. We had to run over 200 in order to get anything like that. But we had now reached the point to where that was our next level that we could go get. And so we were happy with the results of the car and the things that we learned about, and Ben was getting an idea how the car would run, and the things that we had modified at his place to make him fit in the car were a variety of things. We had added a new fire bottle system in there, and that's another thing that our cars have is pretty much a multiple fire system in them. One system is to suppress fire in the engine compartment, and the other is to, if it does advance itself through the firewall that we have built in the car, it also, we have a fire suppression system for the driver as well, which is a real neat thing because when we start attaining speeds beyond 200 miles an hour, and these cars are moving pretty quick, and to start going through the mile markers for each mile marker you travel through, it's anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds in time. To get a vehicle like that stopped, you need time in order to get it slowed down where you can get out of the car. That's the big thing. And so with all the precautionary equipment that we put on board this car, we were tickled to death that we enhanced it by doing that. And we added another fire bottle and extra lines and more plumbing and all of that to make it what we felt a little safer than what it was. And that was just pretty much a decision of ours. It's not, we already had what was on the car that was required, but we just added some additional safety things. And we thought we had enough experience, and we were ready to go to Bonneville. What we didn't realize when we got to Bonneville, August of that year, we showed up ahead of time, in fact, a day ahead of time, for tech inspection, and it is totally different than anything you can imagine. It's a different organization that runs it. You have to be prepared. You have checklists, and they have you completely strip down your vehicle. They inspect every aspect, steering mechanisms, your lines, your fire systems, the dates on your fire bottles, the dates on your seat belts, your fire suit, the date on your helmet. These things are inspected, and if they're not in compliance, you don't run. So we spent an interesting day in the tech line and dealing with some pretty nice people, I must tell you. It was quite an experience. Very helpful, realizing that they want to be there, for you, and they want you to run and have a safe event. But they're very, very adamant about what your vehicle checks out at, and they inspect every line, every fitting, all the lug bolts on your wheels. They look at your tires. They look at everything. If there's anything in question, they bring it to your attention, and they tell you, well, these are the things that you're going to have to change, and if you can make the modification there, but they're going to write it into a logbook that you have to provide to them on your car, which every car has a logbook. And that's another thing that drag racing I don't think has. But in land speed racing, you have a logbook as to if there's an event that occurs, good or bad, it's written in your book. There's also a place there to write down information on your tune-up and how you ran and altitude and weather and the whole thing, which is a very important factor in this type of thing too, just like drag racing is. You have a place in which to note all this information. Any changes you make in your vehicle, that's another thing. But I must tell you that Speed Week was quite an experience. So it was a fun beginning, and we learned a lot, and we had set up our campsite, but we were in a situation where, not really being familiar with the routine there at Bonneville, we thought we got there pretty early, and it worked out to where our camp ended up being at the 4-mile marker down the course. So we could see the course, and the cars that reached 4 miles, we could see them come through the course, which was a pretty neat deal after all. Took a lot of neat pictures, and that was a really neat deal. So that was our experience with the Bonneville program as of '09, and we're tickled to death to run. And as far as our successes there, we started having some problems with the motor. We had started to realize that we were losing power, and as we inspected everything that we had going there, I saw that the supercharger was going away. I could see that it was turning a lot freer, and I think we were having some gear issues, and that was one of the things. And we also had a spray of oil coming out of the motor from a place that wasn't supposed to come out. And I started checking the filters and oil filters on the motor. We have several that we check, and fortunate enough, I noticed a little bit of shiny chips in there, which are the size of a microscopic head of a pin. But that told me that it appeared to me either bearing material, which were rod bearings or crank bearings, and hopefully not part of a piston. But at that point, the decision was made after being there 3 days of trying to run. We decided not to run any longer. But in that process, we qualified for the long course. We ran 216 miles an hour in the first mile and a half, and that was our achievement. We qualified for the long course and was happy to have been there the 3 days, and we stayed on for a couple more days after that, cleaning up everything, because salt gets into everything. And that's one thing that anybody who goes to visit or to participate is to clean everything as quickly as you can, to get the salt out of everything you can, because if you leave it set, you're going to have a major cleanup and possibly the loss of some of your parts and pieces, because the salt really eats everything up. And I didn't believe it until I experienced that.